All right. Today we're going to talk about social distancing through the Zodiac and how to thrive in your quarantine life, your new quarantine life, which probably it's not forever, but for now, we've got to make this work and not lose our minds completely, right? So here we are. We've got a lot to talk about today, just in some general housekeeping. Keep your questions in the Q&A. There's two things to write them. There's the chat and the Q&A. I need you to write them in the Q&A because I'll never find them in the chat. The chat moves so fast and everybody's just chatting away all day here. And if you really want me to answer a question, please put it in the Q&A because that way I can see it, okay? Chats are for comments, talk amongst yourselves, you know, share what you like. It's an open forum, okay? Great, so let's dive into this. This is what we're talking about, social distancing through the Zodiac, how to thrive in quarantine. So some of the things we're going to go over today are your sun signs and moon signs in quarantine. We're also going to look at where Jupiter is this year and new strategies to live through this and to thrive, basically to co-create the world that you wish to live in while we're kind of simmering here under the surface in our homes, okay? And what your sun and moon sign has to do with this, okay? So this is just a little bit of background on me for those of you that are meeting me for the first time right now. I've been running an astrology school for about 15 years. I am a full-time professional astrologer, have been for at least that long. And as you can see, back in the old world, we used to host live classes and also online classes. We were actually one of the first schools to go totally online as well. So we've been doing online and live for quite a while now. And these are just some pictures of some of the events we did in Soho in New York and around the neighborhood as well. It's online. We have a year-round curriculum of classes, so I invite you all to check it out later. And I see a lot of alumni in the room too, so welcome too. And you're able to, you probably see yourself in some of these pictures, right? All right, and here's a little background on me. So those of you who don't know me, I actually did grow up with astrology to a degree. You're going to see in the picture on the left, that woman right there is my stepmother. So she started off as my neighbor. When she was my neighbor, I was babysitting for her children quite often. And I just started to devour her astrology books when the kids went to bed. And then one day I said to her, hey, are you an astrologer? You know, we had this conversation. And long story short, I became absolutely obsessed with astrology, decided to devote my life to it. I might have been like 14 or 15 years old at the time. And she committed to teaching me weekly. So that was throughout all of my high school years. I studied with this woman. Her name is Marjean Van Brunt. And then she married my father, which was so cool at the time because I was like, great, I got a live-in astrologer now, you know, astrology teacher now. And such a wonderful lady. We're still in touch. And then this is a picture of me and my second mentor. And her name is Susan Miller. Maybe some of you know her through Astrology Zone, the website Astrology Zone. In my early 20s, I started to study with her. And after studying with her, I took many other classes in astrology. And this is on the right, you see Bernadette Brady, another woman who I've studied with and truly learned a lot from. She does a lot of great work with the fixed stars and things. So this is a bit of background on me. And for any of you that know, as an astrologer, you never lose the student role. You maintain a student, you're a student forever, essentially. And that's sort of like, in my opinion, that's the beauty of studying astrology, is that you'll always be learning. You know, that never ends. Okay, so, and I mean, I continue to teach, and I encourage my students as well to become teachers. I think that the world needs more astrologers right now, truly, especially in these times of great uncertainty. One thing we do have to rely upon is the cycles of nature and the cosmic cycles. And that's one thing that astrology does reconnect us to. That's really what we need to reconnect to in times like this. My passion has been the human body, understanding how your body is the universe, how you are a solar system. So about 5 years ago, I collaborated with a medical doctor named Stephanie Marengo, and we both co-authored this book together called Your Body and the Stars, which breaks down astrology and your body. And it's basically a guide for health and wellness. So this has been my passion. And today I'm going to be integrating some of that material in these guides as well. So that's something that your health, your chart, a lot of us look at the chart like a map of your psyche, but it's really a map of your body as well. And just to show you, all of the organs in your body are actually in the cosmos there. They can be cited in planets. How many people here have the book? Rowena, you have it? That's great. Thanks. And yay, a lot of people here do. Nicolette, Laura, Ruby, Tatiana. Awesome. Lupe, thank you. Amazing. Oh, wow. Thrilled that all of you have the book. So if you are taking my next class, please use the book. It'll be great to read prior to taking it or while taking the next medical astrology class we do. Okay, it's very practical. And quite honestly, I'm rereading my book during this quarantine, going back to some of the practices in it to stay healthy and things like that. Thank you. If you liked it, please leave a review on Amazon. It totally helps a lot as well. Thanks. Okay. So what I always say is everything breathes together in astrology. And your body, the cosmos, right? This is all one organism. And just to give you all perspective of the time we're in right now, at the moment, and since this whole Corona thing broke out, you know, in December and January, we had a whole group of planets gathering in one sign, Capricorn. And whenever that happens throughout history, and when all those planets gather in Capricorn, and when Uranus is in Taurus, those same things happen. We are at the end of a cycle, and we are in the dawn of a new cycle as well. It shows the apex of something. And a few of the times this has happened in history, you know, we could see like I believe it was in the 1300s at some time, there was a coin that was created in Venice that became the standardized currency throughout of Europe, and it obliterated all those old systems of exchange and money. And it was the end of an old order and the beginning of a new order. And we also went through a similar alignment in the 1500s too, where it was the end of a previous empire and the beginning of a new one. So you're going to see throughout history, we've gone through these things before, and there are generations of people that happen to live through them, and they're okay. You know, it's like we go through it. The world is in flux, the cosmos is in flux, and we're a part of it all, right? We're not going to change. We're not going to stay the same while the world is changing. The best thing we can do now is to be agile. And so there is chaos in the order right now, and maybe the order seems chaotic, but there is an order to the chaos, and that's okay. So we're having to be more agile than ever. And today we're going to look at your sun and moon sign, and as far as like understanding your role in this new ecosystem. And maybe you know the word cosmos also means order. And how do you deal with solitude as well? This is also going to be a question that we're going to look into. Monica, people are asking for the link. If you can put the link to the book in the chat as well. Thank you. Okay, so also we want to know how your birth chart can be your guide to the path of least resistance. And so we have less struggle, more ease, more grace, more fluency. What would that look like? All right. How can we all cope with uncertainty? So basically we're rebalancing ourselves and we're rebalancing the planet simultaneously. We are all in this sort of hard reset. So the question is, how can we individually realign to our true nature and thrive in this quarantine? What will that look like? So we're going to look at your sun and your moon sign today. I keep it super simple. Your sun is what you came here to do on the planet. It's your ego, it's your action. Your moon relates to what will ultimately nurture you, your soul, and your emotional body. Okay? So for those of you that don't know your sun and moon sign, you're going to see a link in the chat right now to the app. So you can all download it. So just click on that link and you can all download it and find your sun and moon sign there if you don't already know. I think CoStar are sort of the quickest, so I just recommend going there because you will need that for the rest of the webinar. No, the moon is not the ascendant. The ascendant is known as, sometimes it's called the rising sign or the ascendant, and that's something else completely different. So we're just going to focus mostly on the sun and moon sign today, okay? Which is, these are your guides, where the sun was when you were born and where the moon was, okay? These are called the luminaries, and how will they act in this current ecosystem? So I want you all to find yours, and just note, are any of your luminaries in the signs of Capricorn, in the signs of Aquarius, in the signs of Taurus, or Pisces? Just note, were your sun and moon in any of those signs? If so, write that sign in the chat box, because those of you that are writing any of those signs in the chat box, Capricorn, Aquarius, Taurus, or Pisces, you all are going through some of the most harrowing shifts probably right now, right? How are you doing? Whether your old reality is totally dissolving, this feels like a huge transformation probably for you. Probably on a very extreme level, yeah. Yes, okay, so we'll talk about that, but just, if you have any friends that have suns and moons in those signs, give them a little extra love because they're going through a lot. Also the opposing sign to Capricorn, Cancer, okay? All right, so there's that. These are where the outer planets are at right now, which doesn't often happen. So many planets gather a sign that signals the apex of one paradigm, which will ultimately flip into another, where a new paradigm emerges. Thought form, worldview, consciousness that creates a new band of consciousness around our planet. And that's what's happening above, that's what's happening with the planets, and also that's what's happening inside our bodies as well. Okay. Yeah, so we're your luminaries in any of those signs. I got ahead of myself. Okay. So some of you that were here in my last webinar might have already seen these, but I'm just gonna go through them rather quickly in case you weren't here, just to get you hip to the game of the bigger cycles that we're involved in. So Pluto hasn't been in Capricorn since around the time of 1776. And that was a time of great revolution. When the French Revolution, the American Revolution, right? America kind of broke away from England and all of that happened. Now we're in this other cycle of revolution from 2008 to 2024. Pluto, the sign of the planet of death, is in the sign of Capricorn that rules structure and government. So we are in sort of the throes of this destruction and creation phase, you know, and we've just got to embrace it right now. So we're gonna, it's not about going back to the same old at all right now. Although we know that marketing will try to do that, will try to get us back, but it's important to recognize the bigger cycle that we're all in right now. And you're also going to notice that at the moment, not only Pluto's in Capricorn, but Jupiter is as well. And today, that's one of the things we're going to be focusing on for all of your astrology charts. We're going to be looking on where Jupiter is and how that can actually be your best ally in quarantine life. Jupiter and Pluto have been together, which if you want to know more about that and the coronavirus, you can listen to my last webinar, which we take a deep dive into the whole anatomy of coronavirus and the planets. Okay, but we're not going to talk about that too much today. And also we had Saturn as well in Capricorn, which is now in Aquarius, but this is also showing its order, its structure. And one of the things happening right now is this grand restructuring. The analogy that I used was we had 3 planets, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto, all in Capricorn, Saturn being the owner of that sign, and then Pluto and Jupiter being destruction and an amplifier of the destruction. What recently happened is Saturn left, and now there's this whole reconstruction happening. Okay, so we're completely there. I will also just add that we're, you know, so many people are wondering when are things going to really change? When are we going to really enter this new world? Well, every 20 years, Saturn and Jupiter come together. And in December 2020, they do come together in an air sign for the first time in hundreds and hundreds of years. So this will absolutely be a changing of the guards, a changing of the tone and ways that we speak to being an inhabitant on Earth, you know. So there's absolutely a greater shift at work here. And yeah, that happens every 20 years. So yeah, Uranus is in Taurus now. The whole economy, as we know, is sort of crashing in, and the crash doesn't last forever, obviously, too. A new system will arise from this. So we all have to trust that that happens, as this has all happened many times throughout history. If you study astrology, you study cycles, and you can look back to all of the times this has happened, and a new and more relevant system usually comes out of it. Meanwhile, the veils have thinned, and we are all more connected than ever to spirit. So that's a big difference right now as well during all of this. More and more people are waking up to that sense of the unified field. And that is related to Neptune and Pisces. And before I go into your individual signs, I will also just mention that late in May, the nodes enter the nodes. Those of you know what the nodes are, they change signs. So what sort of like created this coronavirus when the nodes were in Capricorn, Cancer, they move into Gemini, Sagittarius late May. So we probably will see a change happen, you know, and which makes sense. As you know, things will open up in ways, I would imagine, as the nodes change signs and move out of where all of the malefic planets have been hanging out. So that should be good, actually. So there is definitely hope here as well. Okay, so I'm going to skip those. Let's see, I'm going to start let's see if there's some questions here in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, dive in. So you're gonna use your luminaries of the guide. So far, everyone in the room should have downloaded the app if you don't know your signs. And if you don't have the app, I would suggest to download it right now. Monica, you can repost it in the chat because a lot of people have joined since. And just, yeah, so you'll see the app in the chat and you can download it, get your sun and moon sign. They're gonna the app's gonna list them very easily, but if you wanna look at a chart, that's how you find your moon sign, and that's what the sun sign looks like. So you just see moon in Aries, sun in Pisces, but the app will list it in a very easy way for you as well. Okay. So we're going to go through all the signs and what they might look like in quarantine, and how the sun and moon combinations too, which I love diving deep into the elements in quarantine, the combos and what they create together. I always feel like astrology is like making a soup. You put two things in, a few things in, you turn up the heat and see what it creates together. Like, I really can't stand that whole cookbooky piecemeal astrology where it's like, oh, your Jupiter is here, your Mars is here. You really have to let it all live together, chew on these things for a while and see what they create, you know? Okay. So we're going to look first at the elements and how they relate to your life. So you're going to look at your sun and moon sign first, and you're going to get to see what element they are in. The first thing we want to note, are they in fire, earth, air, or water? What is your main modus operandi on the planet? How do you deal with reality? Okay, fire, if you have both or one in fire, you actually thrive on experience. So I would imagine this quarantine is a bit more challenging for you if you have both sun and moon in fire or one or the other in fire, because you're ruled by the primary life force, the fires of life, which is live experience. Write fire in the chat if you got a lot of fire in your chart and you're finding this challenging. Fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Right, just write fire if you're like a lot of fire and this is hard. I think it's most challenging for the fiery ones here, right? So fire people can feel very confined in this space, thriving on live experience. And we'll talk about ways we can all work with this too. Okay, and miss people and places. Yes. Hi, Ellie. Okay. Now, Earth, if you have a lot of Earth in your chart, you thrive on manifestation, doing things, implementing, finding your grounding in the world, finding your practices. This might not be quite as challenging for you if you have a lot of Earth, but a lot of us have a combination of Earth and fire too. So, you know, for the Earth people, you might want to actually, you might have a desire to build things and create things and make things in this quarantine. You want to get stuff done. Have your checklist, write the word Earth if you got a lot of Earth and you're feeling that. Okay, and the last element, well, not the last, we have two more. Next is air. So if you have a lot of air is the world of ideas. Well, luckily we have this thing called the internet now, right? And so that's probably helping, you know, social media, the internet, and you were probably some of the early adopters to technology and the internet and learning all about apps and how to build websites, whatever. So air people, you actually have it good during this quarantine because this is all about using technology and connecting to the global community right now, okay? Air people, if you have skills and if you find learning these things easy, perhaps you even see it as something you can do to help others or to teach others that have been in the realm of earth or fire to learn the skills to get their businesses online more to pivot as well. You know, there are air people that have found the adaptation I've seen a little bit easier. You know, they've been doing a lot of global connection. It's not easy for anybody, I'll just say that. But it's, if you're a lot of air, you have a natural affinity to using these more airy methods of communication. And air doesn't mean that you're good in technology necessarily, but it does show there is a certain agility that you have. So the challenge with air is air people actually need a lot of air. They need to be outside. They need to be breathing. That's a big part of them, who they are. So they will need to find that in their lives. Keeping windows open is key. Taking walks if you can, if you're in a place where you can, keeping fresh breezes, hanging out on your balcony, letting the air come in. Now, even if you have no air, maybe you want to add air to your ecosystem, so open the window, let the air in. And there are other ways to be fire now, to show up and to have live and presence, like maybe Zoom or IGTV, right? I don't know, you know? Okay, so yeah, daily walks I'm seeing from one of my air people, that's great. Global meditations, exactly. I feel like there are so many air activities happening every day online right now, which is fantastic. And then water is about personal connection, empathy, intuition, flow, trust, the movement of water. Water people thrive on emotional connection, that sense of personal, sense of being seen, or deep listening to another. So also, it can be challenging now for water people as well. It can be challenging for any sign, but water people might crave the most connection right now, whether it's through video chats or group meditations, prayers. There is a deep need to stay connected. And what we're realizing is that some people will need to connect more than others. That's fine. I see the comments are great here. I see somebody's mentioning, yes, that coronavirus is airborne, for sure. For sure it is. And Saturn's in Aquarius right now. Yeah. So there's different strategies each sign can have here. So it's interesting to understand your combination of these and what your needs are, because those essentially need to be fulfilled. Like if you have double fire, you need to be showing up for the world. You need to be having experiences, whether it's hiking, whether it's going on live IGTV. If you got a lot of earth going on, there's a part of you that feels like it needs to be creating something or manifesting something now. Building, air, connecting with people, sharing ideas. Water, sharing emotions, being seen and felt and heard, and listening to other people's feelings, empathy, all of that. And then each sign as well has its own qualities. So we have all the fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sag; earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn; air, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius; and water, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And they all live on this wheel. You can find your sun and moon sign right now on the wheel and look at your core archetypes. You know, the sun is what you came here to do, and the moon sign is essentially what will nurture you along the way. Now, one thing that I'm also going to mention during quarantine is this is so simple, but looking where the moon is each day is so helpful, because it might feel like every day is the same, right? You're at home and then just like all these messages, and then suddenly the day's over, right? Am I the only one? Right? But I feel like that's what's happening a lot, right? I'm like, where did the days go? But what I've noticed is what's helping is to just look at where the moon sign is and to actually commit to activities that are based on that moon sign. So you can actually look at this through the Deluxe Moon app or even through CoStar or whatever, seeing where the moon is each day and aligning your activities to that sign. It's a really nice and easy way to move through this more gracefully too. Just focusing on the moon sign of each day. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to kind of go through what this might look like for all of you now. Your cosmic signature, sun and moon. I see some of you are raising your hand. I can't really answer hands, but you can write your questions in the Q&A. Cool. Okay, so these are the three things we're looking at. Sun sign, it's your role. Your core archetype, it's what you play out in your life. Like you might be the creative, you might be the warrior, you might be the caretaker, or the revolutionary. The rising sign, which we're not going to go into too much because this quarantine life doesn't lend itself too much to rising signs actually, but the rising signs is like how you will do the job of your sun sign. It's kind of how you show up in the world. It's sort of like the operating system that your sun sign must channel through, how the world sees you, and all of that, right? And then there's the moon sign, which is like what I feel like our culture is lacking the most right now. And I think that's kind of what got us into this situation in the first place. The lack of attention to the lunar part of life. So the moon sign is ultimately what will nourish you. It's your needs, it's your emotional comfort zone. It's kind of like what makes you tick, you know? So in Western culture, you know, we read horoscopes, which are all based on your sun sign. Your sun sign's about your ego. It's about what you do in the world. And if you just focus on that, you will burn out, you know? You're just gonna burn out and be unhealthy. And we have a very sort of like unhealthy world for the most part because it's been very solar based. There's, in the West at least, there's been a true lack of connection to the lunar element, which is night, the moon sign. So the moon sign is actually what your soul, what you need, the unseen world, and understanding the emotional body. So here we are, we're all like kind of in punishment in our quarantine life where we actually really have to focus on our moon sign right now. Like not just as what our ego needs, but what does our soul need? What actually will really nourish you? So this is a very good time to get up close and personal with your moon sign right now. If you haven't ever done that and understand how it works in harmony with your sun sign, not as separate things, but like in the suit with the heat turned up, you know? So that's what I want you to focus on. And just like, here's the whole architecture of it put together. Sun sign to core archetype, rising, how you do the job of your sun sign. It's like the how, and the moon sign is what you need, what your support is, and what will nurture you. All right. So we're going to start off with Aries. Hi, Aries. Okay, so Aries suns and moons. Remember, you got to think about them differently as I talk about it, okay? But I'm going to first maybe just like write Aries in the chat if you're an Aries. Hello, Aries. Who are my Aries today? Okay. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that this quarantine can be especially challenging for Aries. Now, when I talk about the energy of Aries, some of you might be like, I don't have any Aries in me, but I need some of that. That sounds good. So there's also ways that you can awaken the Aries in you. And actually, hold on. That's what I talk a lot about in this book that I wrote with Stephanie is really how to awaken all of the signs within you. There's specific practices in there, and you can post the link, Monica, too, if you want. So that's truly what we go into. But first, when you're in Aries, you have so much energy, and the energy runs in spurts. Like you might have a lot of energy and then none for a while. So if you are in Aries, you're used to a ton of activity. The biggest challenge is not being able to run, to spin, to move around, to go up to all the events. You're known as like one of the most active signs of the Zodiac. So if you don't have that, you're in quarantine. To stay sane, you absolutely need to move. Aries their bodies truly need more physical activity than the rest of us. You need to create a space in your home dedicated to working out, to movement, and not just like lifting weights or whatever. Like Aries needs like true cardio. And I mean, all the Aries I've known, like I never see them in like vinyasa or even like hatha classes. I'd see them in like Bikram or spin class or some intense cardio, you know, extreme sports and all that stuff, right? So they need a lot of energy, and that's just important for Aries to do that. Like you can't just stop. And they were like the signs that were, some of them were the last ones out of the quarantine, right? Right? You have an Aries moon too. You need, and the other aspect of Aries is risk. Like there's a part of you that needs risk, that needs to try new things and be autonomous. And you've got to still be able to find ways to do that. maybe in developing new projects, getting new things off the ground. And I just want to say, you don't have to be the one to finish them either. Maybe somebody else works on that part, but you're great at seeding the idea as well. Yeah. Okay. Aries rules the head also. So this year for you, Aries, like where your luck is going to be is in business development, is in career. This is actually, this is your year to completely transform and pivot your career with a whole crown of planets at the top of your chart and Uranus in the house of money. This is like the epitome of pivot, and really you're having some of the best career and business ideas you will this year. I mean, every 12 years Jupiter enters there, and it's got a lot of power. It's got a lot of power with the other planets too. Uranus, planet of change in your house of income. So this is here to get creative, have fun in business development if you're an Aries. What do you think, Aries? Are some of you doing that? Okay. Love that. Yes. Yes, for Aries, Aries rising and Aries moon too. Absolutely. All right, Taurus, let's talk about you. All right, great to hear you, Aries. Write Taurus in the chat if you are a Taurus. So for you, Taurians, you're here to, you're the sign of sensuality. Your taste, smell, touch, all of the senses. So as well, being in nature, going to restaurants, enjoying this gorgeous world is such a part of who you are, enjoying all the creature comforts of life. And it can really be painful to not have all of those. So maybe in this quarantine too, what you might enjoy doing is like taking cooking classes, having dinner parties, virtual dinner parties with others, finding things you can do with your hands to make and create. The thing is, you have to engage your senses. Maybe you start blending essential oils. Maybe you start a garden on your balcony. But you have, your soul needs a tactile connection with this world to feel complete. And sometimes when we don't give ourselves what we need, we can feel like there's a lot of frustration in life. So it's really just about knowing that and committing to it. Taurus moons especially, maybe you like to sing or dance as well. That's also a very movement-based, tactile kind of thing also. Mm-hmm. So what's going on for you this year, Taurus? Well, you have Jupiter in your 9th house. First of all, Taurus, if you've ever thought of doing anything that has to do with publishing or broadcasting this year, creating a blog, writing a book, not to put too much pressure on you in quarantine or anything, but let's say you just want to experiment a bit. This could be a fun time to explore getting your voice or getting your message out there in the world with Jupiter in your 9th house. So I think that Taurus can really have a lot of fun with teaching. Actually, this is sort of online teaching this year as well. Are any of my Taurians in the room? Online teachers as well? Hey, Tanya, my brother's a Taurus too. And he's always making stuff with his hands also. Same here. Yeah. Hey, David. Okay. So, yeah. So I see a lot of my Taurians are starting to teach meditation and yoga online. I love that. And in the cooking classes too. Awesome. So that's so great. And I see some of the Taurians are scared to go online too, which is very understandable. You're an earth fixed sign, so you're so comfortable with the tactile world. And it is very much about step-by-step learning these new skills right now. You can do this. Okay. Let's talk about you, Gemini. So if you're a Gemini, you love learning, right? You love information. You're sharp, agile, and you're quick. Or sun or moon in Gemini. Moon just more speaks to your needs. Your sun speaks to more of like what you came here to do, right? So you're used to change, a lot of change. So this whole quarantine life doesn't give you as much change of environment and mental stimulation as you're used to. Even though the internet is great, you're still kind of like in one place watching things on a screen. So, you know, I guess you could change rooms in your home, right? But you could look out the window. But what's really important here for you is to keep your mind active and to learn, to stay talking to people, be very discriminating with who you talk to, because you need to enrich your mind with new information that feels applicable and enriching and that helps you in your life. So what we're really needing to focus on now is also editing what we learn, how we learn in this whole barrage of information that's being thrown out there online right now. So it is a great time for Gemini to take a class, learn a new skill, all of that good stuff. But also to really cultivate and share your voice. Now, what we're going to see, write Gemini in the chat if you're a Gemini. I'm going to talk about where your luck is right now, and where you can focus to, Gemini. All right, so right now we're seeing, Gemini, a lot of your planets in the 8th house. Well, you've probably been doing some kind of like mental excavations that you've never had to do before. And that might feel a bit challenging. You've been like going into the dark corners of your psyche and doing all of that work, right? And that's Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all hanging out in your 8th house. So this can be an important time to look at this last 12 years of your life. All of those trials, all of the challenges, all of the things that you've gone through. And right now, you have some distance from it. You have some perspective that you've never had before. So this is really good. So it's going to be an incredibly enriching time for you psychologically and spiritually, actually. That's really where I'd like to see you focus, Gemini. And you have enough perspective now to communicate some of these things with a nice level of air and levity to it also. So I do see your talent also being in the world of, I know this might sound strange considering where we're at economically, but in the world of investments right now too, in the world of money. I think you can actually invest in some things or start some projects that might be quite lucrative this year too, Gemini, especially Gemini, Sun, and Rising. But such a focus on the deep excavation work spiritually, all of the stuff, right? All my Geminis are like, yes, 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 been doing the deep work. Yeah. And the good thing is, like, when Saturn kind of leaves that house, Saturn does leave a gift at the door. So it's like you do get sort of rewarded from all that stuff, right? Okay, so let's talk about Cancers. Who are my Cancerians in the room? Right in the chat box. Cancer, if you're a Cancerian. Okay, so Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon. Again, I can't answer the raised hands, but you can write your questions in the Q&A. Okay. So being sensitive water sign, so you are needing deep emotional connection. And you're one of the signs that truly need to express your feelings. And also it's important to be there for others too. If you know any Cancerians, they're the kind of people that will need you to reach out, perhaps more during this quarantine. Because they, as you know, the water is it's porous. It soaks up everything. So all my water signs here in the room now are probably feeling the collective fear, the collective panic on such an intimate level. I just had a client on like Wednesday this week, and he was telling me that he's been having he has all his planets in water, and he said he's having such anxiety since January. He hasn't been riding New York subways since the beginning of January. Like he could feel this pandemic coming on since January 1st. Look, if you're a water sign, you are in tune to the collective waters that connect this whole world. You're feeling everything right now. If you're a water sign, it's more important than ever to have practices that create fire around you as well, and that ground yourself so you don't get overwhelmed with this madness out there, with the whole world just watching the news all day and being in fear and panic. It's a choice, right? Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm just reading your comments here. So it's important, if you are a Cancerian, to really make it a point to have those video calls, the phone calls, and have some weekly support, because you really do need that, and to talk about your feelings through this. Also, having a practice and a meditation practice that can also strengthen your fire. And this is where I like to bring in other elements that you're not sometimes. Like if you're all fire, you might need to bring in some earth or water. If you have a lot of water, you might need to turn up the fire, you know? All right. So also, if you're a Cancerian, this year is all about partnership for you. So maybe you're with a partner right now, and that partnership that you're in can develop so much more and so much more intimately this year. Okay, we're talking about Cancer, Sun, and Moon with Jupiter in your house of partnership. We're also seeing that if you're not in a partnership this year, well, you know, you can go on a dating app, right? I don't know. You can meet somebody probably this year too. It is a great year for partnership, I would say, in business as well as love. So it is all about partnering and connecting deeply to one other person. And again, it can be business or love sort of partnership, but that's such a strong area for you to focus on this year. Okay. It could even be a year for engagement or marriage for you. All right, Leo. This is a sign that deals with presentation. Again, these fire signs, they thrive on experience. Experience usually deals with being out in the world. If you have Sun or Moon in Leo, or any Leo in your Sun, Moon, Rising combo, you are really probably missing getting dressed up and going out and having that whole experience of walking down the street, you know, enjoying the world, right? Double Leo, Sun and Moon, Denise. Oh, wow. How are you doing? Okay, I see. Write Leo in the chat if you're Leo. So you like to have somewhere fabulous to go. You like to get dressed up, all that good stuff. Quarantine life really does not give way to all that stuff so easily. So there are workarounds, right? So you need a little glamour to make life feel livable. And I think one of the ways we can do that and show up is to make appointments with the public online. Like I'm doing right now. Like, okay, I'm on Zoom for all of you right now. Well, if I didn't have this to do, there'd be no reason for, you know, but it's really important if you have Leo in you, which guilty here. So you need to actually have a reason to show up, all of that, and to get out of your pajamas, right? So committing to some kind of social media appearance, an IGTV, a Zoom, weekly or daily, something like that, because you're ruled by the sun, right? That's part of your nature. Yeah. Okay. I know I'm so obvious, right? Okay. Like giveaway. But okay. There. So we're gonna look at Leo, where you have your luck this year is in the 6th house. Okay. And maybe you're not gonna love to hear this, Leo, but where Jupiter is right now is showing your where your grace is, where your luck is. And I just want to say this, like, we're all apt to just connect to where Saturn is, because we like to focus on the hard stuff generally, what's not working. But I'm all about actually focusing on where Jupiter is too, because that's where it's the path of least resistance. It's where things can just work out if you put a little energy into it. So this is about getting your health together, Leo. This is about getting yourself finally into a routine that will, a routine of mind, body, and spirit that will support your workflow, that will support your projects and your health. Yeah. There's a 12-year cycle and a 29-year cycle that are currently coinciding right now in your sector of health. That's where you're needing to focus, is on your body and getting into better cognitive routines to maintain your life. Okay, that's the deal with Leo. So let's go into the next sign. All right. Yeah, I see a lot of my Leo people are saying they've been ignoring all their bodies. Yeah, right. Okay, so because it's generally an outward extroverted sign for the most part. Okay, next we're going to talk about Virgo. Hello, Virgo. How are you all doing, Virgos? We're going to look at your what's work. So naturally, you need a lot of order and accountability. And if you put an N or a P in this chat box early on, like if you're not working or if you're in pivot right now, this can be extremely uncomfortable to not have your schedule and your accountability, all of that really keeps your soul in check. That's essential. So what's really good, and this is just from personal experience, because I have a Virgo sun too, totally spilling all here. What you can do well with is time tracking offs and alarms. Like I'm having to set a lot of alarms, like I'm going to work this long on this. And there's a lot of cool alarms that sound like gongs, so it doesn't have to be annoying, you know? And, you know, all these efficiency hacks. Like I'm reading a lot of books about, you know, all of that sort of efficiency stuff. And so having weekly check-ins with people that you are in a similar place at, and that they're in a similar place at in their life to use for accountability. And you both have like a meet every Wednesday morning, say, and make your plan for the week and check in on each other, on your tasks, on the things you want to do. Projects with check-ins. This is key for you. And for any of you like that want to amp up, say the Aries or the Cancer or the Virgo or any of this energy in your chart, you can again find that in the link Monica put in the chat for the book, because we talk about ways to turn up the volume on any sign within you. All right, all my Virgos in the house. Thanks. Okay, hi. Now, for you this year, Virgo, Jupiter's in your 5th house. This is a year to actually play more, and you're such a work and checklist-oriented sign. The universe wants you to actually have more fun this year, experiment with things, all those things that like are maybe important but not urgent. All of those things that are fun and enjoyable and creative as well. So also love, with Jupiter in your house of true love, this is a year, again, to meet somebody. Maybe you're already in a relationship, and if you're in a relationship, this can be a wonderful year for your relationship as well. But there's a sense that Virgo is actually having to play a bit more than they're used to, experiment, be creative, or fall in love. There's more, there's less rigidity for Virgo this year. Okay, we're halfway through the Zodiac. How are y'all doing? I know we're going a little later today. I hope that's okay. Okay. A lot of you are asking me about the coronavirus webinar that I did 2 weeks ago in the Q&A. So we're going to put that up on YouTube, I think, in the next week. So just shoot me an email and I'll send you the YouTube link if you want that too. Okay. So next thing we'll talk about is Libra. All right. You need lots of beauty in your life, clearly. Now, one of the challenging things with quarantine is like, well, you're subject to the views of your home, whatever your home is. I would say it's essential right now to make your home as beautiful as possible and to order all your favorite bath products online salts, soaps, whatever, all those like small pleasures in life need to be fully enhanced. And maybe, yeah, you rearrange your home. Maybe you even paint a wall a color. You create some art. There's a need to surround yourself with beauty right now more than ever. Write Libra in the chat if you're a Libra, Sun, or Sun, Moon, or Rising. Why not? Are you all connecting to this? You need more beauty? Yeah. So creating beauty during this time. And I find that lighting's everything, right? So what you can do is just like, you can order some interesting new lights on Amazon and play with them and play with the light. That could change the whole mood of your house, right? And the different kinds of color lights, things like that, and the way that they're facing. I actually make my own lights sometimes. You know, there's all kinds of things you can do. Doing facials, salt baths, messing with lighting. Yeah, fun stuff, Libra, right? The gua sha, yeah, the gua sha is awesome. Agreed. I see all my Libras are doing essential oil baths. Nice. Okay. So yeah, those beauty rituals will be a lifesaver right now. Also, creating playlists that you share with others. Maybe you have a daily gratitude group to stay connected with others. I see my Libra friends doing this all the time. I don't know why, but like, it's my Libra friends that always start these groups. So thank you. Some of you are probably in the room right now. You know who I'm talking to. Okay, so what's going on for you right now, Libra, is, again, Jupiter's in your house of home. So this is why I was mentioning all of that beautifying the home, enjoying your home, making your home your castle, truly embracing it, embracing the beauty of all the views from all the different, the couch or the chair or bed, all the different views you can have, and make them all perfect. Also, it's a great year to reconnect with your family and really build bridges with any siblings or parents, even your ancestors, to reconnect and heal those family relationships this year. That is so important for you to do right now. That is where your luck will be. Yeah. Libra could also buy or sell a home this year, and I know that sounds really daunting in the quarantine. I see a word in the chat that's interesting. Apocalyptimist. Apocalypse optimist. That's awesome. Apocalyptimist. Love it. Okay, nice. All right. We've got a lot of apocalyptimists in the room, right? Oh, I see one Libra who's like, I'm literally moving apartments in a month. That's great. You're probably moving. It's probably a really good move. Do you like where you're moving to? It's such a good year for Libra to move. You love where you're moving to. Awesome, Monica. That's the thing. Like, when you move when Jupiter's in your fourth, you usually move into a place with more light, higher ceilings, bigger windows, bigger closets. It's usually a good thing. Okay. Scorpios. Hello, Scorpio. Write Scorpio in the chat if you're Scorpio. Scorpio, Sun, Scorpio, Sun, Scorpio, Moon, Scorpio, Rising. Right? You are Scorpio. Peace. Okay. Scorpio is a sign that is all about going deep and excavating. And so actually, it's like cave. I mean, this can translate, it can translate pretty well to quarantine life if you really think about it. This is because you naturally can isolate yourself for long amounts of time, and you can be pretty comfortable with that. But you can run the risk of going down all the rabbit holes in YouTube and all the conspiracy things, and you can sort of get lost in that too easily, especially because you are a water sign and you are also hence susceptible to all the collective fear and those rabbit holes in YouTube, right? I see all my Scorpios like, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so everybody's like, yeah, I just thought this was my normal life, was called quarantine. Yeah, and be careful about watching the news. Exactly, Teresa Reed. It can be very depressing. If you've got a lot of Scorpio, it can really take you to the depths. So be careful about monitoring your news intake for sure, and your media intake overall, and really monitor the quality of the media that you're watching, because you can be susceptible for those not so apocalyptic ways, right? Some of my Scorpios are like, I'm not watching the news at all. Okay, I totally understand that. All of you are like very sensitive to media, especially now. Yeah. And of course, you've done your conspiracy research. Yeah, you got to stay balanced. Okay. So what could be really nice for you, that's like a sort of a non-news related thing, is to have a good old school book club. Like connect, like find a good mystery book or a thriller or something like that you just can I'm reading the chat, too funny. Something that you can just like dive into completely. And that can be a nice way to manage this quarantine for you, where you can go deep and excavate and it's not news related. Or as Davina's mentioning, you can study astrology with me. Thank you, Davina. That's such a nice blog. So yeah. Okay, great. Wow, all my Scorpios are like loving this quarantine. You all are so inspiring. That's awesome. Yeah, so Scorpios can find their joy in the quarantine. Yeah, but it's hard to keep focused because there's so many interesting rabbit holes, right? I gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at what's going on for you this year. What's happening is that Jupiter, yes, it's in your third house that deals with news, media, information. So you are actually advantageously placed right now to both consume and to express your message, information. So one of the ways that you might like to do this is by focusing on your writing right now. Maybe you enjoy writing, maybe your memoir writing, maybe you are building out a course right now. Does that resonate with any of you Scorpios? Building out a course? Yes, yes. A lot of you are building out courses. Awesome. So the other thing is writing, course creation. What else do we see? Just good old learning new skills. Working on an ebook, great. I see people are learning tarot in Spanish, building an outline. Excellent, Kenzie. Okay. Yeah, you build your outline for the course, you creating course. So many Scorpios studying astrology now. Yeah, if any of you are interested, thanks. So many of my students keep mentioning that. We do run an astrology school. There's year-round classes happening. If you do want to learn astrology, Monica will post some links for that later. Okay, so great. People are keeping a coronavirus journal. Oh, you Scorpios. Okay, nice. So let's go into the next sign, Sagittarius. The coronavirus journal. Okay. Write the sign Sagittarius in the chat if you're Sag, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Just write wherever you have Sag right now, okay? Oh, what's going on here? I ran out of Kleenex, so it's paper towel. Oh my god. So, okay. So here's the thing, you actually do need movement. You're a fire sign again, similar to the Leos, and Leos and Aries. If you can get out wherever you are and go on a hike, go on a walk, so important for you. And maybe I have a friend who's a fire sign that's who's a Sagittarius that's learning a new language right now. I'm like, how, like textbook Sag of you, you know? And that's great too. So I understand if you can't hike or walk, maybe you really learn a new language online. And I have some students in my classes that are creating online travel programs. And I don't know if any of you are in here right now, but that have transitioned their travel company to an online travel company. Amazing stuff. Yeah, my Sages are hiking each day when they can. Great. So also enroll in a class that can have your mind, that you can quench your desire to learn. And I think it helps to have somebody to learn with, being a Sag, so you can talk about it. Barbara, you're a Sag and learning French right now. Jerry, that's great. You're hiking every day. Otherwise, you go crazy. You all are such good Sages. Okay. So yeah, you need your walks for sure. Fire signs can really not feel sane if they don't get their movement. Please don't stay inside. I mean, yes, stay inside, but please, it's okay to, well, I know this is controversial, right? How do I say this? It depends on where you live. There's a lot of factors, but you know, people still walk their dogs clearly. So Tanya's like, yes, go outside. Yes, go outside. Those fire signs especially. Yeah, ecstatic dance online for sure. 5 rhythms. That's all very Sagittarius. I know. Okay. All right. Yeah, you all have it covered, I feel like. Okay. A place to walk with no people. Yeah, all of you Sagittarius are walking every day. I'm so happy to see that. A lot of movement. Okay. Now we're going to go into a sign that's been heavily hit by this whole cosmics, right? Okay. Oh wait, sorry, before we go into Capricorn, Sag, where your best luck is this year is actually going to be in the realm of exploring, turning your hobbies into a business. Like there's something that you've always enjoyed doing, but now you're like, maybe I can monetize this. Maybe I can actually make a living from doing what I want, not the old job that was not really satisfying me. So this is your year to turn your passion into your income. Okay. All my Sagittarius are like, yes, my path exactly. Allie, yes, your feather sculpture. Allie is doing the most amazing feather sculptures right now. Yeah. And that, I think, okay, a lot of you are building your astrology businesses too right now. Beautiful. I love it, Sag. This is your year to fully do that. Turning your hobby and your passion and your magic into your career. Go Team Sag. Okay, Capricorns. Whoever Capricorns, unicorns, to write Capricorn in the chat, okay? You're all about, okay, I see a unicorn in the room. Nice. Hi, Victoria. Okay. So goals and direction. Yeah. Now, Capricorns need to have goals or you kind of just lose it. Like you need to have somewhere you're going. Being in limbo land, being quarantined, this whole uncertainty about the future situation is really harrowing for you. I know. It's because you're a sign that lives on, we'll put the arrow there and we'll move towards up that direction. Such an upwards trajectory you're programmed to have. And it's been really hard, especially with Saturn and Pluto, these heavy hitters in your sign, right? Okay. If you know a Capricorn, give them some extra love right now because quarantine life is not easy for you all, right? Especially with all the malefics in your sign. Luckily, you also have Jupiter in your sign though too. So we're going to talk about that. The lack of structure and productivity in quarantine can make you feel directionless and anxious. That's okay. Maybe there needs to be a CAP support group going on during quarantine. Should we start that? Okay. You need goals. If you happen to not be working, you should be working on your pivot because you can feel like you're sort of going nuts without the goal. Make sure you find another driven, creative accountability partner to connect with. Somebody else that's just as driven as you, that has goals and that feels really hit by this quarantine. You need to connect to your tribe, okay? Yes, you got hit harder, Cap Sun, Cap Moon. Yes, Jessica, you broke down last week because you felt useless. Totally understandable. I mean, Capricorn, the structure of the sign is based on dependability and being useful for society, serving a purpose. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about where your luck is though, and what's actually helping you is you. It's interesting, Capricorn. You're going to get yourself out of this. When you have, now, Jupiter in your own sign, it happens once every 12 years. I want you to know that this is, as much as it is one of your most challenging years ever, with Saturn and Pluto there, it will also be your year where you flip the script completely. So it's sort of high contrast. And what I'm seeing is that you're needing to focus on your innate ingenuity and your ability to kind of manifest, to make things happen. Like, you know how to move energy, you know how to mobilize forces and make things happen and organize from the high level. Those skills are very much needed right now when the rest of the world is kind of like throwing their hands up. There needs to be a sense of organization. Maybe you want to find a group that you align with and take on a role where you can really help move and mobilize forces in a certain direction. You are, you have a need to really be useful, and you are highly functional in the world. This is a time when you're needing to stand up in a different way though. In other words, it's not about necessarily serving a company or a boss or whatever right now. You're needing to see how you do that in your own life. How do you serve yourself and your community? So it's a bit of shifting the gaze, you know, if you are a Capricorn. Okay. Yeah, give the Cap some love. All right. Yeah, it's overwhelming for sure. One day at a time. But it's a year of opportunity for you. You will come out of this year like, wow, I turned a 180. Okay. 2 more signs to cover, and stick around even if you're not those signs, because I'm going to offer you some juicy bonuses at the end of this that you will not want to miss. And I usually don't offer bonuses. They're going to be for my Astrology for Health and Wellness class. That includes discounts on readings and things like that. So do stick around to the end, even if you're not Aquarius or Pisces. But hey, maybe you have a friend or a family member who's an Aquarius or Pisces too, so listen for that and you can tell them. All right, I'm gonna just pop into the Q&A, see what's up here. Yep, yes, there will be a recording. A lot of people are just asking that. Yes, there's recording. Okay. Okay. Monica, if you want to post the code for them too, so they enter with the code, you know, if they do jump into the class, if they are getting the health and wellness class, they should put the promo code in. Okay. So yeah, okay. So let's talk about you Aquarians. So I think this time can be a bit, even though you are an air sign, you are very connected to the field of ideas. This can feel very overwhelming, as you might find yourself trying to solve all of the world problems. And then you can run the risk of overwhelm and then giving up. So write the word Aquarius if you are an Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising. Okay, you're the ideators, and you connect us. You are very much, it's an important sign this year because that's where Saturn is right now, in your sign of Aquarius. And yeah, it's important to not overwhelm yourself with all of the world problems. Community is key for you, though it's just not about connecting randomly to people. Make sure it is a community of people who share the same values with you and whose missions are aligned with your own. you know, and that's where we run into problems when you start dispersing yourselves in every community, because everyone wants to talk. It's not about just being there for everyone right now, because you can way too easily lose yourself, you know, on phone calls and house party and text and Zoom all day. We don't want to lose ourselves there. This is about remembering who you are, remembering the role of your sun sign and your moon sign, and giving them both equal weight during this quarantine, so you don't diffuse and dissolve your energy all day. It's so important to maintain your sense of self and what feeds you, your moon sign during this time. Okay? Great. Yes, the whole online community and teaching online is going to really go quite well for you this year. And especially right now, while Saturn is in your sign, you're probably making some long-term changes. In other words, the sort of COVID pivots that you're making now, you're going to find yourself staying in for the long haul, because this is a Saturn situation. What we're also seeing is that your best luck right now, where Jupiter is, it's in your 12th house. It is there's a focus on your connection to spirit, on the increasing spiritual practice, your increasing psychic sensitivity, even a deeper connection you might be feeling with your ancestors even. This is a year to absolutely dive into your meditation practice. Are any of you feeling that? Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Great, good to hear. And quarantine does bode well for all of those things. You know, it's like kind of living like a monk, or, you know, we're realizing we don't need all that stuff. You don't need to use those plastics and all those lattes, those matcha iced lattes or whatever, all those things we used to do, right? Out in the world, all that waste. I haven't left the house in maybe about a month, and I barely even had one bag of garbage to throw out. Let me just give you an example. I'm like, you know what? That was fine. I didn't need to buy all those other things. One bag of garbage and a small bag for an entire month. I'm just saying, that's crazy. Now, so it really showed me, like, we don't need all that stuff. And life can, you know, you have, this is about changing our relationship to nature, that hopefully we don't go back into using and abusing this planet the same way we had been prior to this, you know, and that's also what I think this was about, the way we've been using plastics and everything, and what we don't need to be doing anymore. A lot of my Aquarians here are saying they're meditating for the first time as well. That's great. And receiving Reiki certifications too. Congratulations. Okay. All right, Pisces. Thank you all for staying in the room this whole time. I see like a few hundred of you still here, and I'm so glad that you all are here. So, okay, excellent. So let's see. Write Pisces in the chat if you're Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Whoa, you are the most empathic water sign of them all. You know, we talk about water being the most porous of all the signs, and out of all the members of the Zodiac, you can be the most porous out of all the water, right? And you can really feel the collective fear. You can feel the collective emotion and all the things that are not fully your own. So there's two things I want to bring up for you, Pisces. One, creativity is your queen, and it's important to really involve yourself in like collage or dance or writing, and just get your creative juices flowing. That's really key for you. The second thing is you need rituals to ground yourself and protect your vital energy so you don't get lost in the collective fear, which you can be kind of susceptible to as well, okay? So there is that also. All right, what's up for you this year, Pisces, is that your luck, your Jupiter is in your 11th house. Wow. All right, good stuff. So this is a year where I look at the 11th house a bit differently than some. I look at it as a rekindling and igniting of your own vision, your own something that's very dear to you. As what comes after the whole, okay, let's deal with our survival needs. And it's like, okay, what do we really want to do? What is our soul really passionate about doing? And who are the people that are also in alignment with those visions and goals? So your luck is actually in connecting to your greater vision right now and attuning to that, because that's what will work for you. Also connecting with the community that is also in alignment with that vision. This is your year to truly build community and build the friendships that you'll have for life. Okay. How are y'all doing, Pisces? Creativity queen, yes. Sorry. It would be interesting to see how each sign was doing on a scale of 1 to 10 based on your zodiac sign, you know, in your quarantine life. Nature baths. Yeah, to be in nature. Pisces also needs exactly restoration in nature to reset themselves with the natural rhythms of the earth. That's so important. Earthing. Bare feet on soil is actually really great for Pisces. Maybe you have a backyard, something like that. Putting your feet on the soil or sand is so good for you. All right, we did it. We went through the zodiac, and these are just some things that you can fill out later. Something I want you all to think about after we did all this. Looking at your sun and moon in the element, what are your strengths? What are you bringing? What are you bringing to your own life right now? This is all about coming home, coming back to you. What are your weaknesses? Let's say you have like all fire, all water, all something. Recognize how you can get lost in this. What is your biggest challenge? Okay. Third, what are your stay-at-home superpowers? Like, what is something you can do that you've learned in this webinar that you can go back to, and it can realign you with your center? You can come back home to you and tune out the noise. How are you going to balance your life in quarantine? And the balance, I find sometimes it's your opposite sign. So like I'm a Virgo, sometimes I need to do Pisces activities. If you're an Aries, sometimes you might need to do Libra things to balance. So you might want to think about your opposite sign as well to balance your quarantine life. And here's something else you can fill out. I am here too, the role of your sun. I do this through the role of your rising. I satisfy my soul by your moon sign. And what is your superpower in this? So this is just for fun, that you can take everything we've learned and put it all together and craft a little story for yourself, right? So I'm going to offer you some very unique things right now that I usually don't do, that I'm doing just because it's quarantine time, and why not? All right. So who here in the room has taken classes with me before? You can just write the word classes, or who here has readings if you've taken classes or had readings with me in the past. You can write so in the chat. You can, okay, amazing. So good to see you all. Thanks for joining. Okay, so has anybody here specifically taken my medical astrology class before? This is the one that I'm offering right now. And if so, you can write in the chat what you thought of it. Oh, great. Hi, Charlene. So this is what I'm going to be offered, but I've changed it a little bit so it can be open for anybody. Like, you don't have to have a background in astrology to take this class now, but also you will get a lot out of this course if you are even an advanced or intermediate or beginner astrologer too. So the name of this course, it's a 4-week course that you have lifetime access to, and it's live online with me. It's all about health and wellness, pretty much a lot of the topics in the book, but we take a much deeper dive into all of them. Now, if you are a yoga teacher, a body worker of any sort, or you work with essential oils, you work with somatic techniques, you do anything health related, I would say these are skills that will marry very well to what you're doing currently. And I've seen so many of my students beautifully integrate this astrological knowledge of health and wellness into their practice. I'm all about making astrology more interdisciplinary, like seeing how it works with business and health and other things, instead of just keeping it like in the realm of astrology. I feel it's important to bring it out into the world right now. And so much of my work is about bringing it out there. So this class, if you feel that's aligning with you, then I will recommend you to look up into this class, and you see the link in the chat right now. If you want to take this offer, Monica is going to keep posting it, so you all can click on it if you want. Thank you, Charlene, for saying that about the class. I see a lot of my students are here, but I want to first go into, hold on, let me close that. You will get first a 10% off the course with the code MEDVIP, put it all in caps, and this will last until April 15th, midnight EST. And you're also going to get, when you sign up with that code, you're going to get my offering. It's a webinar called Become Your Own Astrologer and Plan Like a Pro. So you get that one, which is about how to plan using astrology. And you get a 20% discount, which is $45 off any astrology reading. Okay, all of that's valued at $411. And if you sign up by April 15th, it's $299 for this complete course. So I think it's a pretty good deal. You all think so? It is an awesome deal, yes. So you have a few days to sign up. I usually don't do these things, but a lot of people asked me if I could run more COVID promotions after my last webinar. So I thought, yeah, sure. And thank you. So we thought of this. So I'm going to go through each part of it now, just to make it very clear. This is the class. This is how it's going to look on my website when you get to the page. Monica just posted the link. It's all access class, meaning you can be a total beginner. You can know nothing about astrology. You can be an advanced astrologer, and you will still gain a lot from the course. Okay. Bonus one is 10% off the course, Astrology for Health and Wellness, with the code MEDVIP when you sign up. Bonus number 2, when you sign up by April 15th, you get your recording of Become Your Own Astrologer and Plan Like a Pro. You get the audio and video presentation. And the last one is 20% off any astrology reading with me. Now, health and wellness has been my main passion in the world of astrology. It's what I wrote a book on with Stephanie Marengo here, and it's pretty much like what I've devoted my life to. I do a lot of medical astrology readings. I go on Dr. Oz. I used to go on Dr. Oz when we could leave our houses more, talking about the use of medical astrology. Now, who's a doctor or nurse in the room right now? You probably, if you graduated medical school, you probably took the oath of Hippocrates, right? And in that oath, what did you say? Well, Hippocrates said as well that that no one should be practicing medicine without a proper knowledge of astrology, because essentially the planets are related to the natural cycles and the plants and our bodies. And how can we just isolate our bodies, assuming that the organisms of our bodies are not connected to the planetary cycles and the plants? We are completely a part of this whole ecosystem, much more than we realize. And the early doctors knew this. All of the ancient world, this was very much known. So the way I teach is extremely digestible. I make this so easy to understand, so applicable. So you will be able to integrate into your current practice if you would like. And what you will get out of it is you will learn how to avoid susceptibilities and how to stay in optimal health based on your astrology chart. You will learn how to do this with other charts. You will learn how to look at your clients, friends, or family charts and learn the natural susceptibilities and what might be needed to stay fortified in health as well. In the course, we will also learn about timing, the best times and the worst times for things like surgeries, and what it means, if the onset of an illness is at a certain time versus another time. And ultimately, it's wellness strategies based on your star charts. So Tanya's saying she studied macrobiotics, which is based on Hippocrates, also studied herbalism. Great, teaches you about astrological knowledge as well. Amazing. So it sounds like you already have a pretty holistic background in this. So, right, some of you that have studied herbalism might have some knowledge in astrology. I think this class is, I've seen many people who are herbalists take it, and they've been able to integrate this knowledge so beautifully woven into their practice. I've had alumni that have created very successful lines of essential oils through this class. After the class, they've created products from it. Yeah. So let's see. I will answer some questions for all of you now. But I think the world needs more astrologers right now more than ever, because there is, first of all, a lot of uncertainty. And astrology is about pattern recognition. It's about the study of cycles. Knowing the cycles of the world, knowing how to be a part of it, knowing that we're all breathing together in this, the cosmos, us, and the plants, knowing yourself and the part you play in these cycles, this is all key. I feel like the world is absolutely needing more astrologers now, and so this is why I'm opening up a lot of these courses on a greater level at the moment. Yes. So I also do private mentorships as well. Yes, cosmic coaching also. So now I'm going to answer some of your questions. You say what you mean about making your own chart. So the way I teach the chart in this course is very different than the beginner's course or in the intermediate. It's a completely different way to look at the chart from a medical perspective. And it's actually a way that you can even learn astrology through this perspective also. Yeah. I think it's a great way to learn. It's the way I learned. My first astrology teacher, Mardine, showed me the health, the body, as being part of it. So I didn't learn, psychological astrology or evolutionary or whatever first. I learned it as all one thing and connected to the body when I first learned that. And actually medical and health astrology was one of my main interests. So this is it's truly a passion, and I love teaching this class so much too. Let's see, I'll answer any more of your questions. Okay, when do we meet? We meet starting April 22nd, every Wednesday night. If you want to put the dates in the chat, Monica, for 4 weeks straight, and 8 to 9:30 EST. Though all of the recordings you have lifetime access to, you can listen to them anytime, the next day, right after the course. And as well, it's 6 hours of live recording, right? It's 4 weeks of the class too. So that is what we are offering, and it comes with also the $45 off of a reading, the 10% off of the course with the code. If you want to write the code in there again, you just have to write MEDVIP in all caps, and you will redeem all of these offers too. Yeah. So let's see, I'm just going to check in the chat and your Q&A. Did I get all the questions, Monica?
Yes. Could we talk about your book? There's a question asking if it's Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, or a different system.
So no, the book is here. It's it's about the Western signs, Aries through Pisces. but not just about sun signs necessarily. It's about seeing your chart as a map of your body. And there's practices in the book, like physical practices, mantras, and all sorts of things you can do to enhance the energy of any sign within your body. But we always recommend focusing on where your sun sign is, your rising, and your Saturn sign. Your Saturn sign, because that's where you might have the most challenges. And you should know your Saturn sign for your health as well. Your sun sign, because it's what's used the most, it's as strong as it is susceptible. The things that you're naturally strong and susceptible into. We even look at aspects from an angle of health as well. We look at the organs of the body too, how they're functioning with each other. So, I mean, a lot of my Ayurveda students are like, wow, I see that in Ayurveda too. It makes sense. And Chinese, like, it all does connect because, you know, it's one body. It's just like in architecture, you might look at it from above, beneath, and different lenses of it. We're all speaking to the same thing ultimately, so you will see connections. Yes, there is a Kindle version too. It's called Your Body and the Stars. I think Monica put the link up there to it. And I think the book is a great companion to the course. Like if you're taking the course, you're reading the book, they work well together for sure. All right, thanks all of you for sticking around so long. You want to add the link into the chat once more, Monica, for I think people are asking me in the Q&A, they're asking for you to just put in the course and the code. Okay, so let's see, more in the Q&A. Yes, yeah, it's in the chat. Monica just added it, so you can check it out there. And it's Med VIP all in caps. Right. Okay, so what else do we have? Let's see. Somebody says, is intermediate still open to enroll? Yes, you can still enroll. It started. We've only done one class so far. So you could still enroll and you'll get that class automatically in your school software. All of the courses live in our school software that you always can tap into the day after class. Oh, thank you. Okay, so good to see you all. Yeah, so I think I answered all the questions that are important. Is there anything I missed? I think that's it. And we went so far over time today. Yeah, I have time for only one more question. What is that? Okay, it's, do I have to be present at the exact times or save it and viewed later? No, you don't have to be present at the exact times, because lots of people who are taking these classes, they live in New Zealand or wherever, and you can watch it right after class, and it will live in our school software where you can see all the homework. And the homework you don't have to do, but we do have homework if you want to go that far. And yeah, the recordings, the homework, the PDFs, everything lives in the school software, so you don't have to be present. And it's friendly to all time zones. Yes, the code is MEDVIP. So look, I hope this day, thanks for spending your Sunday with me. I hope it's really helped you in your quarantine life. Solidarity here. We're all in this together. And I want to be here to support you all too through this in the best way I can astrologically. So it's been such an honor to see you all here and see so many alumni in the room. I can't get over it. It excites me so much to see people from all the previous years. I see people from like 10, 15 years ago who took the class, people from last year. Just great to see you all back. And welcome to all of you newcomers. Welcome you to check out. We also have a Cosmic Clinic if you like to stay updated bi-weekly. It's a membership program we run as well. So you can check out the Cosmic Clinic too. Monica's posting a link for that now as well. And yeah, let's see. That's about it. I think that I am still doing things during the quarantine, and I'm open to your suggestions too. If there's something new you would like to learn about, you can always shoot me an email and say, well, will you do a webinar on this? Just so you know, to give you all an update in the pipeline, what we have coming up after this course. is the Astrology for Entrepreneurs course as well. Monica's posting a link to that now too. And you can hop on the wait list for the Cosmic Clinic. For Astrology for Entrepreneurs. You want to put the link to the Cosmic Clinic in there as well. After the Astrology for Entrepreneurs class, it's not up on my site yet, but my team and I have been working on one about the class about love. But we're going to do that after the quarantine lifts, okay? So let's see. Anyway, thanks for spending your Sunday with me. Have a great rest of your night, and I will hopefully see you on the next webinar or in a class. Bye.